Welcome to From the Den podcast, providing Bears and NFL fans alike with compelling news, discussion, and debate. I'm your co-host Benjamin, joined alongside my dear friend and co-host Oren.
Hey Benjamin, let's get right into it. As always, kickoff starts now.
All right, so Oren, the last time Nick Foles played in the Pro Bowl, Julius Peppers, of all people, led the Bears in sacks with 7, meaning this is a pretty long time ago. So why do you have confidence that he'll be able to consistently help the Bears win games if he was considered one of the best so long ago?
I don't. It's something, I'm not trying to be brutal or mean, but you look at Philadelphia, both years. He played great both seasons. What you don't forget is Wentz came back week 3 of 2018, I think, or 2019. And he played the first few games. He didn't play well. And it seems like he's great in the playoffs. He's great under pressure. Like I said, clutch. He does better in the playoffs than he does in a regular season. But what I'm worried about is that what happens if he plays like he does in Jacksonville? What happens if he plays like he did for the Eagles in those 3 games in the beginning of the season when Wentz still had a torn ACL? What happens if he played like he did with the Rams? You could say that it's Nick Foles. You look at Trubisky and you say Trubisky's very consistent. One game he does great, one game he does bad. One game he does great, one game he does bad. With Foles, it's either a great 5-game stretch or a terrible 5-game stretch. And that concerns me more because if we get that terrible 5-game stretch, then who's our quarterback? Are we going to put a non-confident Trubisky back into the starting lineup?
Yeah, we addressed this in our last quarterback episode too.
Yeah, so what worries me about Foles is that 1 year he had 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I think the best passer rating in NFL history. Some crazy season.
I think that might. Oh, excuse me. I was thinking of completion percentage with Sam Bradford.
No, but and then I think he got traded to the Rams. Maybe that next year or a year later, did terrible. Then he almost pretty much retired. Came back to Kansas City. Went to Philadelphia. Back to Philadelphia. Led them to a Super Bowl victory. He has so many ups and downs that it concerns me that if we get that down, then our season is over. And what I would say is like a guy named like Andy Dalton. A guy like Andy Dalton, what could happen with Andy Dalton is Andy Dalton could lead us to 9-10 wins easily. 8 wins, 10 wins.
Would you rather have Andy Dalton or Nick Foles, real quick?
Foles, I think I'd rather have Foles because the way they restructured his contract, I don't know if they could have done that for Dalton. Mm-hmm. But what I will say is that Foles can pretty much consistently get you to 9 wins, 10 wins. I mean, Foles could get you to 13 wins, 14 wins. He could also get you to 6 wins, 5 wins, and that's what concerns me. What I worry most is that they get to that 5 wins and 6 wins, and I don't see them getting that low because I think that even on Foles' bad days, how like if he has bad games, those are similar to what Trubisky had last year, and they still went 8-8, and with an improved roster, they should do a bit better. But what concerns me is that with such a stacked team, you can't have Foles playing bad, and then that ruins their chance of getting maybe a high seed in the playoffs instead of maybe getting a low seed or not even making the playoffs.
Got it. First of all, we've talked about how I don't like the Pro Bowl. I don't think the Pro Bowl is a good metric, as I've mentioned a few times before. But also, more importantly than that, he's not even needed to be that elite quarterback, as we already mentioned about the game manager versus game changer. He's needed to be that consistent quarterback. And what you were saying, how Foles has his ups and downs, but that's within seasons. I don't even think it's really within, like, separate seasons. Like, he's either having a bad season or a good season. So hopefully if Foles has a good season, then that won't even be a problem. So the reason I have confidence that he'll be able to consistently help the Bears, at least in some way, because I think that he's more consistent than Trubisky. So he's the best option that we have. And again, I don't think Foles needs to be a Pro Bowler for the Bears in general to have success. He just needs to be a good enough game manager, better than Trubisky, to help us win games. That's why I have faith. Not that I think he'll be suddenly such a great Pro Bowler, but just that he'll be able to manage the game well enough for the rest of the Bears team, or the rest of the Bears defense and hopefully their running game, that are likely better than what he can provide, can do what they're known for, what Chicago teams are always known for, with the good defenses and running game. And Foles can just play that game manager role, and it'll work out.
Yeah, so what I will say about that is that when he plays at his best, he is a good game manager, a great game manager. When he plays at his worst, he's a bad game manager.
But again, what I was saying is I think it's a season versus season thing. It's not different games within one season. And hopefully, let's say Foles gets to start and he does badly, Trubisky will still be unconfident. But it's not like it'll be unpredictable with Foles in deciding whether you're going to start him or not start him. I think if Foles is having a bad season, it'll be clear from the start, or clear from the first few games when he plays badly. And he's not so on and off like Trubisky is.
Well, I think that he may not be on or off, but either he's on for a season or off for a season. And what concerns me is that he'll be off for a season. And what I'm trying to say is that I feel like Nick Foles has never been an average game manager, what the Bears want. Obviously, they would rather have an above-average game manager than an average one. But are you willing to take the risk of having an above-average game manager who could also be a below-average game manager, depending on the year? Or just take someone in the middle, like I don't know, like any other quarterback. And I think that this trade and getting Nick Foles could end up being one of the best decisions Ryan Pace has ever made. Really could. He could come into a situation where they have a good coaching staff and they have this mentality where they want to win. And he comes in and he does great. And the Bears win 13 games. They do even better than they do in 2018. And I think that if they do that, that would be great. But I'm just a bit concerned that he'll completely do terrible and they'll go 8-8 again. And then once that happens, I mean, you can't keep a defense that's so dominant for that long. It's easier to keep an offense because an offense can be dominant with a quarterback. The defense doesn't necessarily have a quarterback because the quarterback is such an important position on the offense. It matters more than any other position. While in the defense, there's not one single position that matters so much more than another position. So, like, for example, Kansas City, I think the Bears roster skill-wise, if you take out quarterbacks.
Oh, we debated this last time.
Yeah, but I think that it's similar, and debatably the Bears have a better team. I think so. But the quarterback is such an essential position that that's the difference between 8-8 and a Super Bowl.
If you enjoyed this episode of From the Den, please remember to subscribe, comment, and like this video.
Or, if you're a Packers fan, remember to dislike and leave a nasty comment. Click the links on the screen to access additional content.